what we had done already. And 1 week we went over the hard choices is life, and then we analyze characters, we analyze time that is needed uh, to change, and that time is a lengthy process. Then the second week we focus on choices that actually, when we decide things and without really thinking about the choices, we act like we don't have a choice. So it is important before this decision that we get awareness that we have a choice in any given moment in life, that whatever we decide, it is a choice. And we need to bring that choice to the awareness and develop these contradictions constantly, so we do not act like whatever we do, it is the way that we do that, and there's no other side. So if you choose to uh, support somebody, then you choose to support somebody. But if you don't choose that, then you don't choose that. It's not like you don't do that. You really make a choice not to support somebody. And well, here it is the responsibility and standing uh, with the decision that we make. If you don't buy the book or you buy the book, it's a decision. If you don't buy the book, you decided not to buy the book. So it is important that when we don't do the things, that we also, it is our choice, and it goes across as a choice. So when we talk about the failures in our life, and we want to uh, stop that failure, so the best way is to analyze certain the happy body situation. Let's say somebody hates exercising and doesn't want to do that, but it's a good thing. And then here is the situation: the person thinks, "Oh, it's a good thing, so I will exercise." But after 1 week, the person exercises only 2 times. So it is important now to uh, analyze what's going on and come to day by day and bring today. Let's say you did an exercise yesterday, and this is the day. And that is why the failure needs forgiveness, because you really have to forgive yourself that you didn't do, because you want to do something what is good for you, but it doesn't happen. So you cannot really befriend your failure. Failure is not a good thing. The good thing is that you fail, that you are doing things and you fail, and it happens to you. But not a good thing is to say that your failure is your friend. That failure is not your friend, because you want to evolve, you want uh, to come out of it, and you want to improve, you want to exercise. So if it doesn't happen, you will be failing all the time. So you need that plan. You need the plan. Okay, what is my plan today for today? Because I failed yesterday. That's when you say, I need to forgive myself. I'm clean. I'm a clean slate today. So this today, I'm going to, decide what I'm going to do. So I'm going to go to the gym at, let's say, at noon, and I'm going to do it. And then I will set up the time, and then on the time, count on time, when the alarm comes in, I will go. So if you don't go the next day, again, clean slate. You have to forgive yourself that you have weaknesses, because their weaknesses is, if the failure prevails, it's the weakness. That's why you have weakness. That's why it happens to you. So from the perspective, to look whether you actually succeeding something or not, the weight loss is a really great thing. Let's say you're 120 pounds, and then you you want to be 120. And after a month, really, you didn't lose any weight. So that is a message that you were constantly failing and you didn't create any situations and plans to succeed. You befriended your failure. You didn't challenge your failure. You didn't create any plans, and you didn't really, you know, acknowledge the situation that the failure is not a good thing, and you don't want that in your life. So this program is created to help people in these all situations and how to come out of sane and how to come out with possibility of created progress in your life. And if the failure happens on those in the situations that it happens after a month, that you didn't change, you didn't create any progress, you were failing all the time. The deeper situation is that you can be a failure and you don't even know that you are a failure, and you can be even proud that you are a failure. Let's say you can be, a parent that behaves really, slap your children and be happy that you actually do that. And we have corporal punishment even today in half of the states in the United States, and that's really not a good thing. But those failures are there. They don't even know that they are. So the message has to be delivered, created, that you have a failure. And without the happy body, it's really hard to know that you fail, because you don't have numbers, you don't have measurements, you don't have those things. So once you don't have, you are vague and you are not transparent, and you are lost in life in the vagueness of, oh yeah, I would like to lose weight, yeah, okay, and nobody says how much and where and so on. So you cannot develop the responsibility for the charge, right? So really taking the charge and choosing and then saying what you are choosing is an important element in life, that you choose the what you want. And also, if you don't do things, you choose that too. If you don't do things in life, you choose them. If your friend asks you for something and you don't do that, you chose not to do that. It is not that you simply, well, you didn't do that, right? No, you chose not to do that. You have to really comprehend that. So once you comprehend that you have a choice, then you simply become free, and then freedom comes with responsibility, and responsibility makes you independent. And once you're independent, then you can act in life as you, and not be repeating others, and not be the whatever others are. That's why the happy body are guidelines. They are not restricted. It is not a restricted system. It is a system that has the guidelines around how to create a good life. But that good life has to be created by you, and you take it and you create your own ways, and you say, my choice is to eat 4 times a day, 2 days, 2 times, 3, 4, whatever it is. But you're also responsible for the progress, for making things happen. If you do 3 days, that's fine. But the most important is that you come from 120 to 110, and not really that you debate that 4 is better or 3 is better, 5 is better. There's no really better. It is you. You live the life, and then you are responsible for creating the happy body for yourself. And it is your happy body. It is your life. It doesn't have anything to do with anybody. And you have to really comprehend that it is you. It doesn't have anything to do with anybody else. Okay? All right. So we'll go today to, it's a very important moment because we have, my plan is, and it is, it is in, it is the situation here that you have the physical entity, you have the happy body, and then you are challenged by it, you are irritated, you are frustrated, and so on. And you see the failures. You have to see where you fail, and when you see it, then you start dealing with it. You can start planning. You can start dealing, and you take the ownership. So you will never go into the complaining that it's 3 hours, or the exercises are too long, or you can be in pain because of it. You make it happen so it is not 3 hours. You make it happen so it's not pain. You make it happen. You take charge. It is yours. The happy body is yours. I have to get it. When I do, it's my happy body. When I do it, it's mine. When I exercise, it's my happy body. I'm in the same situation as you are. I'm aging, I'm going through, and I'm helping myself. I really don't care whether people are in the world that eat worse than I. Why I would? I know what is good food. I'm going to eat it no matter what, whether there are people in the world, enjoying bad food. I'm not going to eat bad food because I know it's bad food. There is no question, and there is no way that I will eat bad food. Do I enjoy the good food? Of course. The good food is a good food. It's always better than the bad food. But you have to have a mind to enjoy it, right? I enjoy my potatoes, and if you give me some kind of cheesy things and so on, I would be disgusted about that. I would never touch it, and I will enjoy my broccoli and the potato. If you give me French food, I would puke even looking at that, and that's what I am. And I love that, what I am. I love this. I love my potatoes, clean potatoes, without any cheese on top. Somebody loves the cheese. Okay, fine. That's your way. But this is my way. I know what is good. And that's what you need to find out. What is good? It is such a thing. What is good? To be angry is not good, simply. And it is, right? To complain is not good. To blame others, not good. To be kind, good, right? To say what you are, good. All right. I will take comments about what I said, any insights that you have about this, whatever you want to share. It is important that you are in the process of growing up here and not really get stuck in somewhere in the middle talking about. It's not really interesting. The past is not interesting. What is interesting? What we do right now in the present, and whether we are in the present actually thinking about what our plan is, what is going on. That is the most important. Because what is at stake? At stake is your examine life. That's what is at stake. And the life that, needs to evolve, needs to get better. You have to improve. If you don't improve, you don't get better, life is not examined, and you live the life that is flat. No growth. Okay. Anybody wants to say something?
You see, I'm raising my hand.
Cool.
Elian.
Elian.
So I I think a couple days ago you talked about loving failure.
Right.
So you want to love this bad thing, failure.
No, it is not that meaning. I love that failure happens, because when the failure happens, it means that I try to get better. That's the perspective of loving the failure. I don't love that the failure happens to me, right? The failure that it is, right? I love that I'm doing something, I fail, so I love that I fail, because that tells me that I'm doing something to get better. But I'm not going to stay with it. I'm not going to love it forever. I don't want it in my life, but I want in my life when I get better, right? So it is the situation where without failure we don't get better, but with the failure that is not addressed, with the failure that we don't want to put the muzzle on top of it, we cannot get better. So the perspective, the love the failure, is the idea that if you fail in life, it means you are trying something. But you could have the failure and never really get better. And that's not a good idea. You still have to deal with that failure so it doesn't happen. And then you go to another failure that is, when you improve it, you go a little bit, upper in the way of thinking, and the failure will come in different failure. And then you work yourself again, you create the plan so it doesn't happen. We are okay with trying, right? When you try to do something and then you fail because of it. We don't fail because we don't try, right? We fail because we try, and that is the love of that thing. That I love the failure because I know that I tried. But you cannot love it forever. So you have to get better. And here is the situation of the present moment. In the present moment, you have to face the situation that you really fail and what to do not to fail. And then if you really override that you will improve. And then you will be on the different level, and you still be doing with another failure that will come in, because you will be in a constant process of growth throughout your life. And there will be always different, but they are different failures. That's the situation, not the same one. I think it's, it is clear, right?
Are you saying, excuse me, may I talk?
Yes, yeah, please.
Are you saying that do it, but when you maybe when you mess up or you miss one, don't hate yourself and stop forever. It's a failure, and so you just go there. Now go forward, right?
Right. That's why we have forgiveness. You see, right. That's why the failure needs forgiveness.
I moved my weight up to. I'm using 3, I moved it up, and I noticed that my shoulder hurt last night. So I moved it back down. So.
Right.
Okay.
That's good. You love your body, right? That's,
yeah.
You come from the kindness to the body. You listen to it. You love your body. You're kind to it. You know that you violated microaggression. You know all this, and you back up. It means you went too fast. You were not patient enough. You understood that. Back up, and then you will build from that. There is certain wisdoms, how far to go, and there are a lot of reasons why we fail. It's just, but whenever we fail, we need a plan. So that plan, I ask you to come out with a plan, and the physical situation that really happens to you, and what is the plan? So we comprehend actually creating a plan, because we really don't live that way of life, right? We don't make plans. And then our failure happens the same way exactly, over and over, right? It becomes the habit, the failure happens every day, and we don't want it, but it really happens. So how you can come out of it? When you make a plan, it's always good for some days, and then the failure becomes strong, fatalist becomes strong in us and does something, and then brings again. So you need another plan. So you have to really constantly planning, constantly doing consciously with and dealing with the failure until it's gone. And when it's gone, you will go to another challenge, and that challenge will bring another failure. Or you will, are good for a while. Let's say you lost 120 to 110, you are 1 year 110, and then your weight is creeping up. Well, what's happening, right? So that's why it's really important to have the ideal body weight, because when you have it, you can monitor everything and you can capture when the fatalist is weak. So when you 110 for a year and you went 111, 112, and over the weeks you see, 113 after 2 weeks, I'm going the wrong direction. Your master is powerful. Your fatalist is really sneaking in. But if you don't stand on a scale, let's say, for half a year, well, you're 120 or you're 125. You see, you cannot miss that. Once you arrive into the place where your mastery is, you control it and you monitor it. If you stop monitoring it, the fatalist will come in, and usually comes in, and it's very weak at the beginning. Like a master is very weak at the beginning of making things happen, right? The fatalist is very strong once past, once the same way as it used to be. So it's really hard. That's why you need to plan. That's why you need to remind yourself. That's why you need to read good books and keep, exposing yourself to people that they inspire you, the people that they are your idols, and the people that are very strong in and what they are, right? Socrates. It will be really hard to corrupt Socrates, right? It will be really hard to convince Socrates that live to eat is a good thing, right? Socrates would not buy that, and there is no way. That's immutable. That's immutable personality, right? He cannot do anything to that. He cannot corrupt that. POWs, a lot of them that went to and spent 5 years in tortures. There was no way to corrupt them. They were immutable to the outside source, completely immutable. And that's the immutable. That's the one that cannot be corrupted, even it's tortured for 5 years. Goodness is on that side. And once it is, there is no way that you can corrupt that one. And you cannot corrupt the one that has the happy body. It's good. Forget about it. No, nothing in the world is going to turn you away. How something would turn me away from eating vegetables to eating products and disgusting things? Yeah, how? I know it's good. I feel it good in my body, in my whole body system. That's why feeling is here important, right? I feel. Once the feeling is connected, that gives you the guidelines, gives you the guidance, gives you the messages. Hey, it's a good thing you did today. Or don't eat that thing. It's not good, right? But it's a journey toward that. And that's why we are doing what we are doing. So you are on that journey. You are becoming that master. But it's just a talk, like it is not going to happen if you're not engaging the physical entity like the happy body. When actually you get irritated and you get frustrated. So anybody is there that came with a plan that is about the corrections of the fatalist. What is fatalist? Did yesterday, let's say, my plan today is what?
I'm ready for a comment. So before I signed up for this program, I had been doing the Happy Body for almost a year, but when the pandemic hit, we take care of Michael's mom, my husband's mom. She's 94. So we are in complete lockdown. I can't teach, which all closed anyways. Everything closed after I sort of withdrew. I have to get everything delivered to the house. A lot of people are doing this, but we have to be extra careful. I can't see my grandchildren. I can't see my own children who live nearby. Everything is shut down. There's 4 of us living here. So I went through a whole process of setting things up and being very careful and analyzing information. And then I crashed about 6 weeks into the pandemic. And I couldn't do anything. I was completely exhausted. I was eating crappy food, end of life food, you can call it. Anything that made us think we were doing something wonderful, I would eat it. So I started gaining weight again and feeling just awful. So just before I found Jersey's emails about this program, I missed the beginning of it because I wasn't seeing the emails. I had made a decision. So my plan was to do the Happy Body properly with commitment. And I had no idea when I signed up for this program that it would really support me on many levels, you know, in terms of being a better person. And the one thing that this situation has given me is a lot of time. I always felt super rushed. You know, I was teaching 20 hours a week and managing to take care of the 94-year-old and do all this other stuff, and never had time to do things properly. So my plan was, and this is the plan, was to focus on the Happy Body, and it was meant to save me, which I really didn't think it would, but it has, you know, it has been incredible. And I feel so much better. I've lost the weight that I gained during those first few weeks of bad eating. I'm getting all the right foods now, and I'm feeling much better, you know? So that's my plan, and it was to just refocus. So from a fatalist point of view, I could not control what was happening outside of my house in the world. I could not control that. But I kept saying, what can I do? With what I've got here, what can I work with? And I had no idea that this was happening, but it's been great. It's been very good.
Awesome. Congratulations. You know, you got the voice. Master spoke.
Yes.
Right? Master really spoke, and then you acted on it, and you went through it. It's just great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been very good.
That's the voice that we really, that's our sanity voice, that the voice comes in and wants to do something what is right, what is good. And then you start really acting on it, right? And sometimes we jump into hot oil, like, you know, the saying is, you know, you jump in and, you know, you don't know what to expect, or you jump and the net will appear, right? Just saying that if you jump, you have to really sometimes jump in. And it's very hard at the beginning. It's a hard choice. That's all you got to actually jump in. And you need help after you jump. And if the help is there and then you like it, then you develop a little bit more strength to stay with it. So stay for another day, another day, another day. And that builds up if it's good, right? If it's something that creates more, you know, power within. The inner strength is fed, and we are becoming stronger. That's amazing. That's what we want, right?
And it doesn't mean that I've done it perfectly every day like I'm supposed to, but you know, that's where the forgiveness comes in. Like some days everything is just too much, and I fail, but then I get up the next day and say, okay, I've got energy, I'm doing this, you know.
It's a journey. So, you know, it doesn't matter what happens during the previous day. You move on to the next day and what you're going to do today. And then you know, as much as you do today, you did it. Then next day again. Well, if you did something that was not planned and not good for you, you forgive yourself, move on to the next day. And that's the meaning of it, right?
Mhm. Yeah, it's been very good.
Thank you.
Thank
Anybody else now?
Yeah, you rang the school bell like in the old days. The teacher stood outside and rang the bell. You rang that school bell that said to me, I have a solution during this crazy time for you. If you would just sit down and listen, you could help yourself. And I feel like that's what happened with this class. Oh, thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome. Anybody that has a plan to respond to the virtue? Sophia? You're muted. Sophie, you're muted, so you have to unmute yourself to talk.
Oh, I'm muted myself on purpose. Hi.
Oh, I thought that you want to talk because you appeared here.
No, I'm sorry. I just connected. I'm not going to talk before I know what's going on. I'll just listen.
Okay,
Bye.
good. Thank you. Anybody else that would like to say something before we go to a little bit to our book and talk about chapters?
Hi, Jersey and everyone. This is Jeannie from,
Jeannie?
and I just wrote down something pretty simple. I said, my plan is to assume that there is merit in everything. So success and failure. And I want to find it, process it, decide to benefit from it, and then offer it back to myself and others.
That's great. That generally is really great approach. It's one of the plan. It's a major plan in your life, right? I'm looking for a plan with interacting with the happy body, failing because of it, and creating a plan. Let's say, because once we start really seeing those days and seeing our behavior and how the failure tries to take us away from, and how the fatalist wants one thing: you don't do the happy body. Why to do it, right? So that's the whole fatalist idea, you know. So most people really do the happy body and they don't do the happy body. So what happens to them is the fatalist eventually wins to actually get rid of the happy body and do what the past was, right? Mm-hmm. So, and why? Because the happy body comes with goodness, and goodness comes with hard choices and effort, and fatalist hates that, all of it. So, so here I'm looking for, you know, interaction with the happy body. So we will need to know and feel and sense when fatalist actually comes in, like on a scale. You are on a scale and you see a scale, and then you see how fatalist is, you know, creating the situation that you are gaining weight. But it's very weak. So we want to capture the fatalist always in this weak position, so it cannot succeed. On the way, when we are on the way, it's really hard for us because the fatalist is very strong, and because it's the whole past and it's very it's very integrating in us actually to do what the past is, and the future is created in the present moment. That's why it's really difficult, and the fatalist is strong. So it's the situation. Let's say you wake up in the morning and you over and over you want to do exercises and you fall back into sleep. And that is the situation I'm looking for. What is the plan now? Are you going to have 2 alarms? or second alarm after 5 minutes. And there's a joke with how is it in Japan when you wake up actually. So they have like three things. The first is that there is an alarm. If you switch the alarm, then you have to put the clock on the other side of the room, so you have to go and stop it, right? So that's the idea. If you still don't go, then the bed flips and throws you out of the bed. So that's the solution. That's the plan, right? Yeah, but it's a solution to actually make something that is good, but we do not like it. And that's the point. Yeah.
It's Margaret in Park City, and my plan's pretty simple, but it was important for me to have action in my plan because I can get lost in the learning and acquiring information and still not do anything. And so my plan's simple. It's to count. It's to count when I start, when I finish, when I fail, when I succeed. And that's with respect to weighing myself in the morning, what exercises I did that day, how I meditated that day, and what I ate and when.
Awesome. And then when something doesn't happen, when you actually want to happen, what do you do?
Well, that's in the review, and for me, just looking at the data helps me adjust and move forward. My biggest issue is when I don't track what I'm doing. But when I track it, I don't know, it's almost like the muscle reviews it almost automatically at the end of the day, at the beginning of the next day, going, okay, this is what I'm going to do today.
Yeah, you need to get into maybe the self-master book, the Happy Body Self-Master book. Yeah, this one. It's a really good one, right? So what's your experience with that book?
When I first started reading it, I was so overwhelmed by the whole program, my head kind of blew up. But now I'm finding the format of it I really like. And I just ordered the journal because I want the exercise page with the food page.
I see. Right. Yeah, I see the food. Right.
I want to open a page, and I have no problem creating it myself, but where I go, okay, this is my happy body, and these are the elements of it that I'm really focused on now. And these are the elements I still need to work on.
Yes. So we know in that book you have on one page on the one side, because it's the monitoring, self-mastery, looking how you do. And then you monitor exercise, you monitor the food, you monitor meditation. On the other side, so it's a juxtaposition of two things there, a scientist and an artist, because the poetry is on the other side, right? And the poetry is talking to our feelings, and how our feelings are about the good thing, usually, right? About the growth. And those feelings are developing in our body. And that those feelings eventually create this strong inner voice, the master voice, and acceptance of hard choice. And that's why the poems are there. And keep reading them, because they are constant empowerment, development of the strength within for the accepting what is hard for us.
So for one of the things we touched on yesterday, the memories, and you were talking about remembering how when you overate, you didn't feel good and you were bloated, etc. I don't hold on to those memories. I hold on to the happy memories of when there's this huge family dinner and you're together with your family. And that's one of the things I'm counting too, is that what are the negative food feelings I'm having? Because I usually don't keep track of them.
Right. Well, when you have that book, you could, right? Because there are, places that you can. I overeat usually because I'm happy, right? I'm really happy, so I will overeat. I don't overeat because I am sad or I am depressed. I overeat because I'm happy, right? But that you have to control too. You see, the happiness, too much happiness is not a good thing either when actually contributes to making you worse over time.
So that point I argue with. It's like too much happiness is never a bad thing. The lack of control is the bad thing. And always keeping your eye on what you want to control and the mechanisms you have to control it, to me, is what you're teaching us in the Happy Body.
Right. It's maybe not happiness, it's pleasure, right? Because eating is pleasure. And too much pleasure is not a good thing. So that's why, we are in addictions, right? Addictions are too much pleasure. And that too much pleasure destroys people over and over. Great people can be easily destroyed when they have too much pleasure. Fantastic. Anybody else would like to say something?
I'll speak up for Olivia. She was asking.
Well, I was just about to.
Oh, okay. You go ahead.
Me?
Olivia's having trouble with her sound, and she was wondering the difference between plan and strategy. And if you could distinguish and give examples, please.
We're going to have a plan to eat every 3 hours. And then we need strategies when this plan doesn't happen. So we need strategies when we have a problem with executing the plan. That's when the strategy comes in. Let's say I want to eat every 3 hours, but you always at 4 o'clock, I have a problem to wait 3 hours and I will eat before, or I don't care and I will, I will eat at 5. So there is a plan there to eat at 4, and then need strategy for that. So what I'm going to do, I will set up the alarm, let's say at 4 to eat, or I will go for a walk at 3:30 if I want to eat right away. So I need a strategy how to make the plan happen.
And then you've got tactics.
And tactics are smaller elements of strategies. So there are tactics are more like, that you have airplane carriers and then they come in. The plan is to go and take the island, right? Let's say, and then the strategies would be to take the one army that way and that, and then you have a lot of tactics like within. So these are the small movements.
Micro progressions. Oh, I'm sorry, Marcin.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say micro progressions. That's all.
Micro progression is something that is executed to deliver the major improvement after long period of time. That's micro progression. So if you, let's say, if you are not a kind person, but you want to be a kind person, so probably you need 5 years for that. And you need to develop micro progression. You need to find somebody to work with somebody that would help you to make it happen, because that's probably is needed, a mentor or somebody, and so on. So you develop this micro progression in the vague world. If in the Happy Body, you develop micro progression this way that you, let's say you are incredible, you are inflexible, and it's really, you barely sit, right? And so you take, let's say, 5 years to get it from barely squatting to full squat. And then you plan micro progression, what will happen, how much time you need for every inch, half an inch, quarter inch, and you develop that progressive system. That's his microprogression. So it is connected to progress, whether it's a progress in the vague world that is not measurable, and whether it is, like become a poet, right? It's a huge microprogressive system for 20 years. So then, there are certain things that we want to become are like that. It takes about 20 years. Usually business and, companies and so on, they are for around 10, 20 years to become companies that they are great, right? So it cannot happen fast, but microprogressive system has to be developed to get there. And if we do it fast, so why is the micro? Because if we do it fast, we drain the reserves, we can be easily injured, we can be easily overtrained, tired, and also use all the resources, and it can bring us to the point of the crash. But if we do microprogression, then we are building strength. We are always recovering, and we're getting stronger because of the recovering, and we are never drained, we are never weak, we are never exhausted. That's how microprogression system works. And somebody that can deliver that is a masterpiece. Is a masterpiece. That's how we make athletes. Well, that's why probably we make pianists and anyone that is really great in doing something. It has to be microprogressive system, and sometimes that system is is really hard to see by some people, and the other professionals can see. Like in gymnastics, it's really hard sometimes to see mistakes that the athlete does, because it's a subjective thing. So some people can see it, some people cannot see it. With music, is the same thing. Some people can hear that something is wrong still with the music, others don't hear at all. So here a teacher is extremely important then, because you don't have objective numbers. In weightlifting, swimming, running, and so on, wherever numbers are, well, there's a clear measure, and there is a clear system, progressive system you can build. All right, I will give you about 5 minutes time. You can talk a little bit, and we'll close in about 8 minutes.
Guys, are we supposed to be using this book? No? Good, because it looks really confusing.
I got it when I was just reviewing the books, when the first week, I think, Into the Cave 1 started. And yeah, I thought it overwhelmed me initially. I see the flow in it now, but I didn't initially.
So you think he'll take us there?
I think so. Because he keeps saying he's going to take us into food. So
have you started this one?
Mm-mm.
The previous book you were just talking about, what is the context?
It's called the Happy Body Self-Mastery Workbook, and it looks like this inside.
Yeah.
Which is what? I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm lucky if I get in my room and exercise and eat some soup.
So basically, you're identifying whether you're eating a snack or a meal, and is it the right number of calories? Is it the right time? You're giving yourself scores for everything on the exercises and the meditation, and you're tracking your weight. And like I said, and then there are the philosophical questions too. And then it's tied to reading. So in some respects, I kind of look at it like a workbook for the verbal discussions we're having here, but I'm not at a place that's advanced enough
Me
to
either.
actually master the book yet.
Yeah.
Hi, you guys. I have a little bit of comments on that. I did look at that workbook, and it kind of mirrors just keeping a journal, a very specific journal of your weight and what you ate at what time, how you felt after the workout, if you didn't do the workout and why, and then commenting on fatalist master. You know, if the fatalist made you get lazy and not do the workout that day, what exactly was your excuse? And then what would a master say to overcome that? Then you get a strategy for the next time you get lazy. So you can sort of go bit by bit through every excuse you personally come up with. So if you just want to keep a journal, you can do that too. And it's really helpful. I highly recommend it.
Thanks. That's very, very helpful.
Thank you.
I write the intro.
Yes, I know.
I've actually been using this that book, the Self Mastery book, and I'm just at the end of the 3rd week. And you're absolutely right; it is very overwhelming and confronting to start with. But once I got into it, I found it was very useful, because there were days that I thought I'd absolutely made a complete dog's breakfast of it. But on reflection, I thought actually out of a possible 45 points, I ended up with, 39 or 41. If I'd been at school and doing maths, I'd be thrilled with that. I'd be running home with it, showing mum. So it actually has worked out to be really useful for me. I reckon journaling would probably do exactly the same thing, Amy, though. I think I would agree with that.
Have you guys read this one? Has anyone read this? I haven't. I think
if it's okay, I have. Yeah, and that's what has helped me the most, because it has broken down my personal psychology and helped me to realize that I have all the good in me and all the answers in me, as well as all the excuses and bad habits. And it's training me to be more of a master and less of a fatalist.
Could you show that book again?
Could you show it to us? I couldn't see it.
Got it.
What does it say? I've read that. Yeah.
Oh, Master and Fatalist Happy Body. What does it say after Happy Body?
The Happy Body, Mastering.
Maybe type the title in the chat.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
You could finish the sentence if you wanted to, too.
Okay, sure. It's The Happy Body, Mastering Exercise Choices. And then the circle says master. The center is red and choice. The bottom is fatalist.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I find the book differ on that line under Happy Body, a lot. So, yeah. They're confusing. Thank you.
Yeah.
This is really fun, because he said I was a master, and I haven't even read the book, so this is really good. I didn't know you were.
This thing will be going over, so we'll take a 1 week to go over mastering food choices or exercise choices and so on. This all of it was created to help people to achieve the happy body. This is the whole philosophy behind that we're going through, that empowers that inner strength, mental strength. And once you, because of the physical situation and controlling yourself to create the physical progress, and that is not easy. The worst, the most difficult is always the food around. Not many people have problems with the exercise, but the food is the major element here that we have problems to control ourselves when it comes to food. And we are challenged, we are irritated, we are frustrated, and we go back and forth to create a different you, right? And while creating that different person, the whole person has to change. It means the whole character has to change. The believing system has to change. How we view certain things in the world has to change according to really what we do. And that's why it's a journey. It's a quite interesting journey. And when you on a journey and actually achieve what you need, it will happen because you develop patience, you develop self-control, you develop kindness, you develop micro-progression. You will experience all of it. Then you can juxtapose that to any field of life. But you have to become master of one thing in order to be master of all, right? So, so stay with the happy body and develop any plans to work with it, to try to control the fatalist and to work with the fatalist on a daily basis and start trying to find out where is the fatalist, because usually we don't want to admit that we have problems at all. So that's our biggest thing, that we don't see that we fail. So you have to really get into the happy body and started working with data so you know that you fail. So I work with this book too, you see. I cross it on a daily basis. I work with it. It's a really good thing. It helps me. So it's really, you know, there are probably people that they don't need any books, and they have everything what is needed to create a happy body. You don't need to be here then. Just you already have it. You go and create this happy body, and then you are great. You are wonderful. But if you have the situations with the happy body, then you really need help, and that's why we're here. All right, homework. So now we have the plan, and then we are moving to the strategy, right? So we have a plan, and the plan is this and this, and now we have a strategy. Now my strategy is to come out with situations around the happy body, and what is your plan how to deal with the certain weakness, because the fatalist is weakness, and then how to create the strategy around to deal with it, how to create the possibility for yourself that failure doesn't happen. Good. And then we are on chapter 11, right?
Yeah, 11.
And chapter 11 is fulfillment. No, chapter 12 is fulfillment. Missed that. Commitment. All right, commitment. There is the Happy Body Tribe. I hope that everyone is already there. And when you are there, I posted about the Into the Cave. And there is a share thing. So please do that, because that can help, you know, people to see it. Commitment. It was character that got us out of bed. Commitment that moved us into action, and discipline that enabled us to follow through. It was character that got us out of bed, commitment that moved us into action, and discipline that enable us to follow through. You know, that follow through to deliver is that discipline that we create over time. And to deliver the happy body to yourself, you need at least 2 years or 5. So you're on a really long journey when it comes to deliver the happy body. And that's your self-discipline. If you go through it, you will be the person of a really extreme self-discipline. And that will be your experience, and that will be your language, and that will be you. And everybody around you will know that you are that person. It's really interesting because the happy body, you do it to yourself. It is not work that you do. It is your life. So it's a very interesting discipline here. You know, you can be very disciplined when you work for somebody or you run the business, but in your own life, you fall apart completely. And there are a lot of people like that. So the happy body is it's your own discipline, doing something good to yourself, and without being really forced to do it, because you work. If you work and you really work, that doesn't mean you have discipline. Your discipline shows up when you don't have to do it, and you do it because it's a good thing. That's the self-discipline is showing up. All right. I will, one person can wrap up here. Somebody wants to. Okay. Arjun?
Please forgive me if I go off at a tangent, but I think what we're learning about the happy body can be reflected in the way top performers in very many different areas of life succeed at the very top. For example, in finance, I think this sort of occurred to me during the day. There's a famous investor in America. His name is Charlie Munger. He's the partner to Warren Buffett, and he always talks about mental models. And it's the mental models that create the discipline. And what we're learning is the happy body, but it's also a mental model that is proved in different areas. And another investor who's extremely successful is a guy called Ray Dalio, and he just does mental models even on a larger scale with around 2,000 or 3,000 employees in his company. So it's writing rules down and creating roadmaps is the way to go. There's just one area for me that I'm still struggling with, and that's if you know the recipe, or you get to the source of the real knowledge, then you can describe it and create a roadmap. For me, the difference between fatalist and master in the middle is not being sure. And therefore, if you don't really know the roadmap, then the journey is difficult, and you have to do everything to not block, but actually go towards the frustration or to the unknown to make it to create a roadmap. And I think this is where you need the courage. And for me, this week or these past weeks have just underlined how important it is to always push forward to try and find the answer. So, Jerzy, I may have gone the wrong way with this, but these are just my thoughts.
Yeah, great thoughts. You know, it's a journey toward, you know, to see yourself, right? And then as you see yourself, then there is an enlightenment at the end of that. So the Thich Nhat Hanh posted something very interesting. He said, when a wave is aware that the wave is the ocean, that's where the enlightenment is. So for me is that when I am aware that I am the planet, I am an enlightened being. But that's where we need a lot of help to get to this realization. It's like a wave has to see that the wave is the ocean, right? That is really hard to see. That's where you have to develop the constant awareness and constant work around what you are becoming. And eventually you can see from above who you are. And once you see it, you're enlightened, really. All right, guys. Thank you for today. We'll see you tomorrow. We know what we need to do and start really getting into details. Details are so important, and plan is so important, like Martin said, that that helps us to create data. And once you start creating data, like that book helps a lot with creating data, because that book creates you day by day data, and you can look back and you see how you did, and you start connecting to, you know, what happens to you over the weeks, over the months. You know, I work with a lot of people that they create micro-progressive system with their companies. So I help them to create this micro-progressive system, how to actually do and what to do, you know, when you have 7 employees and the company should grow to about, let's say, 1,000. And what is the micro-progressive system, and how much time, you know, that how we could project could happen, right? So that is a very interesting, because it is in a way to see it from above, right? To see it from the master point of view, that you can actually see backward. That's why the saying is that you can only see backward, but you cannot see forward. That's what Martin was talking about. So somebody can see you, but you cannot see yourself. Somebody who is a lot better in language knows exactly what you are saying emotionally, but you just don't see it. That's why it's one of the reasons to evolve, to become a better person, right? All right, guys, see you tomorrow. Awesome day today. And don't forget about the sharing.
I have a question. Is there a book, The Happy Body, Mastering Food Choices?
Yes, it is.
And they're the yellow. Okay. Okay.
Yellow is the food choices. Red is the mastering the
exercise.
Yeah, and the blue is rest. So
rest.
There are 3 books, 3 versions, and 3 different dialogues, 12 dialogues in every one between the fatalist and the master. And we are going to go into one of those, not this week, but the following week. We are going into the master of food choices problem. That's where we start.
Okay. Thanks.
So we'll have very close interaction between the master and fatalist and dialogues and the language, and we go a lot of deeper into the words and the words of the fatalist and the words of the master, and also the percentages of the master and the fatalist. Is very interesting dialogues.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right, guys. See you tomorrow.
Thanks, Jersey.
Bye.
Thank
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Right. What's the homework for the failure needs forgiveness part?
My strategy is.
Oh. I thought, okay, got it.
Awesome.
Bye,
Mar-
Jersey. Cool class.
Elaine, can you hang on? I'm going to send you the names that you've just asked for. Are you still there? Yeah, hang on.
Yeah, thank you.
So if you want to communicate, the Happy Body Tribe is the best way to do those things.
Yeah, I think Jersey's waiting to leave. So
Yeah.
Are you on Facebook? Can you do that there?
Yeah. All right, guys, need to go.
Marcel, are you on Facebook? Oh, okay. We'll do it tomorrow.